So people were not working, and on the other hand, you had government spending more money than they ever had spent, and on top of that, we're printing money. I mean, what, over like half of the freaking money supply that was even circulating, it got printed in over the course of the like 2, 3, 4 years. That's insane. What the hell else was supposed to happen?
How bad are you off right now? Like, how much worse off are you right now than you were before? I'm going to say pre-COVID, okay? Because COVID was obviously an unprecedented pandemic, blah, 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 blah. But up until that point, which was the very end of Donald Trump's presidency, things were going quite well for all of us. And so new research now shows that many families dipped into their savings or turned to credit cards, buy now, pay later installment programs, or payday loans to pay for groceries last year in 2023. That is not a good sign, you guys. And I want to read you just when we talk about the cost of things. Now, I do want to state off the top, I do not advocate for anyone to be going to McDonald's or fast food places. I think that they're terribly unhealthy. But just to kind of give you a sense of how much more things cost right now. We all know the groceries cost way more. But let's go to a chart of McDonald's price increases. Menu item, medium French fries, end of 2019 price, $1.79. Mid-2024 price, $4.19. Percentage increase, 134%. McChicken, end of 2019, $1.29. Mid-2024, $3.89. That is an increase of 201%. And then there are other ones that go down from there. The Big Mac, 87% increase, almost 88% increase. 10 McNuggets, 70% increase. Cheeseburger, 215% increase. So again, I'm not saying go eat McDonald's. I don't eat McDonald's. But the fact of the matter is a lot of average Americans do.
You don't want to see Whole Foods' numbers on that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, this is the bottom of the barrel when we're talking about inflation and increase in prices. Here's another one. Chick-fil-A, same types of things. Deluxe chicken sandwich, 80% increase. 8 Chick-fil-A nuggets, 96% increase. 4 chicken strips, 79% increase. It goes on. Large milkshake, almost 65% increase. Taco Bell, same deal. Again, I definitely do not advocate for eating at Taco Bell unless you want stomach problems later. But beefy 5-layer burrito, 118% increase in price. Nachos Bel Grande, 79%. And then, of course, the bottom, I'll skip to the bottom here. Crunchwrap Supreme, 51.6% price increase. This is not sustainable. When the average American has to take out a payday loan to purchase their groceries, I would say things are not trending in the right direction. And then I want to add on top of that in 2023, which is when this research was taken for the grocery bill, the average annual percentage rates for credit cards rose to 22.8%, the highest rate on record. Not good, guys.
Yeah, and I want people to understand, it's not like ground beef wakes up one morning and says, you know what, we're worth more. We're going to charge more. It's fuel. It's transportation of food through this country. We have the most complex food distribution network in the world. Our food travels further than any other nation's food. By the time you eat lettuce in Texas, it came from the Salinas Valley. It traveled 5 days. It's fuel. And when you stop drilling, baby, and you don't produce fuel and you deplete your resources, everything goes up. Then we get to supply chain management. And everything comes from China. China owns all the ports. China charges you a tariff when you import your coffee. You drink your coffee, it comes through some Chinese port from Guatemala, Honduras, Central Africa, Kenya. China controls it. We pay them so that we can eat because we outsource everything, etc., etc. And then the cherry on the cake is Pete Buttigieg. And you've got a transportation secretary that doesn't know what he's doing. Ships are 2 weeks behind, 3 weeks late, food spoilage, etc., etc. It's compounding. But it starts with this tiny little thing called fiscal responsibility that they don't understand. And yeah, let's take the natural resources we have and go completely bonkers on the Green New Deal and say we're evil and plants are good and human life is the same as a plant and we're not going to drill. We're not going to use oil. We're not going to use natural resources. We'd rather buy it from China or from Russia. We'd import it.
Jaco, I think you're being too hard on Pete Buttigieg. To be fair, he did spend a lot of time chest feeding his baby.
Well, maybe the brain cells went out with the imitation.
He had to be out
with the imitation lactate. You know,
he had to be out. He needed to chest feed his baby, Eric.
Man, I don't know how much more time we have on this segment, but this is an economic question more than anything that needs to get answered, and I could take all day because this is what I do. All right, so this is not one point or one problem, or one person that created this issue. It all starts with the money, okay? And effectively and actively, both parties have collaborated in devaluing your money for a very long time, in combination with the Federal Reserve, who works in combination with the Treasury, where they are printing money like it's also going out of damn style. One of the worst decisions that have ever been made in modern history in regards to the money supply was what happened during the COVID situation. And it was not just the Democrats that were in on it. It was these bitch ass Republicans as well. And I have to call them that because what they did was absolutely criminal. And that also includes Donald Trump. And I know there's going to be a lot of our viewers that get upset with me when I bring that up, but he is just as much to blame for this problem because he should not have signed. He not only signed it, he advocated that those ridiculous trillions of dollars spending bills in order to combat this effort, which ended up being a damn sham, he signed off on it. I don't want to hear anything about his hands were tied. He was lean. I'm not trying to hear any of that because now you're feeling the effect. Simultaneously, you had two things going on. And these morons that run this country sat and convinced people that this was okay. Simultaneously, you had people not working, right? You had people being that were in the actual workforce not working.
Forced to stay
home in some sort of capacity or limited to capacity in terms of work. They were not being effective workers. And it happened like that in a very, very, very short period of time, right? You cannot treat the economy like an off switch where you just hit everything off. We're going to pause it for a couple of weeks, right? 2 weeks to slow the spread, they said, which ended up being a year and some change to slow the damn spread. And the spread never got slowed in the first place. Curve never flattened or any of that stuff. So people were not working, and on the other hand, you had government spending more money than they ever had spent, and on top of that, we're printing money. I mean, over like half of the freaking money supply that was even circulating, it got printed in over the course of the 2, 3, 4 years. That's insane. What the hell else was supposed to happen? You don't feel it, and this is what gets me. And I say that I'm especially pissed off as a business owner because I know what happens when the cost of everything goes up. I have to then spend more money, and because I'm spending more money, I have to charge people more on goods. So when someone's like, "Man, I used to be able to get a comic book for 30 cents way back in the Gap." Well, good luck doing that now, because if I was just charging you 30%, I'd be out of business tomorrow. I quite literally cannot do that. Nobody can, right? And unfortunately, what's going to happen is the solution that these crack smokers are going to advocate is somehow fixed prices and trying to act like the business owners are being greedy because they're now charging more. So we need to force them to do X, Y, and Z, which is going to, of course, increase the issue, right? It's going to exacerbate the issue, but that's what they're going to do. This is a problem that you don't need to necessarily be an economist to understand why the world is the way that it is. You just don't need to be a damn dipshit. That's it. You don't have to be the smartest person in a room. You don't need an economics degree. You don't need to understand Austrian. Well, you kind of do need to understand Austrian economics, but you don't need to be freaking Murray Rothbard or Mises or Hayek or any of the Friedman for that matter. You don't need to be them to understand what's going on. Your criminal government is robbing you blind. And the problem is that you're too stupid to realize that they're doing it. And worst case scenario, you're actually advocating that they do it. And then when everything goes up, everybody's like, oh, well, what the hell happened? Oh, yeah, we just raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour, so 20. Hell, why stop there? 30 an hour, right? They're paying 30 an hour. Everything's going to be fine. Wait a minute. I also got a 50% raise, but my groceries are also 50% more than what they were before. It's almost like it was a wash, because it was. It was a wash. Sarah, you might want to cut my mic off because I can sit up here and go all day long, spitting. I'm doing all kinds of things because this gets me hyped up because it's a problem that is so easily identifiable. But for whatever reason, we look at it and everybody's like, whoa.
If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.